You will not believe this newest update. It's another Freeman's Garage Extra Texas to Oklahoma Moving Debacle video for the playlist. And after almost a year of trying to sell the house in Texas and buy another house in Oklahoma and move Freeman's Garage almost 500 miles, it is finally almost all over, and we can get back to wrenching on a big spread with a barn, and we can do whatever we want with our project vehicles. But guess what? I am still here in Texas. You will not believe this newest update on the moving debacle. After almost a year in this tough market, we finally got a buyer to stick with the Texas house, and we finally got a property under contract that's sticking, not falling apart, up in Oklahoma. And it just so happens that both the closings, one in Texas, one in Oklahoma, got scheduled for the exact same day, which happened to be my birthday as well. Kind of weird. I don't believe in adults, making a thing out of their birthdays, right? But I mean, just kind of interesting. But here's the challenge. Less than a week before closing, I am asked by my agent, hey, the buyers, they're wondering if you would be willing to bump the closing up a few days earlier on Friday instead of Monday. And I thought, well, it's not really the best for me, but I guess if it helps somebody else out, we'll do that. Sure. Well, I did them a favor and it bit me in the butt. Either the buyer's side of things or the title company. It's 98% the title company's blunder. I don't think anybody updated the lender on moving the closing date ahead 3 days. And there was a drastic lack of communication because the day before the new closing date came, I still hadn't, over the whole month, not received a single peep from the title company saying, hey, is this you? This is us, can you be here at, this day, this time? Here's what you might need to bring or have with you. Here's what's going to happen. Here's the plan. Nothing. So the day before this new closing date, I call the title company on the telephone and schedule myself. I call and say, hey, the date seemed to got moved around a bit. Just checking. Are we good for Friday? And you hear, keyboard and the buyer we have scheduled for Friday to come in at 1 and sign. And it doesn't look like, no, we don't have you down for anything. Not even the original date. I said, well, what's the soonest I can get in? She said 2 o'clock. Okay, so the very next day, it's going to be the buyer in there at 1, and then I, the seller, in there at 2. And, that means that none of this has been planned out properly because I called and scheduled myself. During all of this, the agent that I hired to represent me and were communicating with each other. Which, if it were up to me, but the industry roadblocks you into hiring an agent. And on the buyer side, we don't know what they're doing. Anyways, so I tell my agent, I'm scheduled to be there at 2. And she says, okay, I'll meet you there. So at 2 o'clock we're there, and she tells me that just at noon, somebody from the title company called her and was asking if we were set up and ready to receive funding, which is odd. You're supposed to have this stuff figured out a long time ago, title company. So by, 2:05, 2:10, the papers are already signed and the title company is saying, The money hasn't come through. The cutoff for the wire is 3 p.m. We'll see what happens. And at the last second, they said the money came through, but they couldn't disperse it. It's in the title company's bank, but they can't pay it out. They need the final go-ahead from the lender, but they can't get a hold of a lender or the lender. And there's all these people playing phone tag back and forth and trying to figure out what's going on. Something about possibly a date being mixed up. And my agent and I sat in a room at the title company for 3.5 hours because we said, we'll wait till the money shows up. And we were there till a half an hour after the office was normally closed for the day. And it ended with us being told, should be Monday. Well, I, do not have communication with the buyer, of course, right? But apparently they were freaking out. When they went in at 1, they thought they were gonna get the keys. Little did they know that the buyer was never even scheduled to even go sign closing documents, that the seller had to go schedule himself. And so at 5:30 p.m., the buyer's trying to find out if I would rent the house to him for 2 days because he had a bunch of rental equipment of some kind, I assume moving equipment. And, no. First off, everything for me is messed up now, big time, and I'm losing money, and I have rental equipment that's gonna be overdue. And I'm not gonna walk out of my house as you're walking in and I go to a hotel. And besides, there's all the obvious. You don't know who these people are. What if the money never shows up and you can't get them out? So after leaving the title office after 5:30, my agent said, you can go ahead and take off to Oklahoma with the last of your stuff and go be with your daughter, and I'll keep an eye on your house and make sure nobody tries to gain access to it that shouldn't. And my gut right there told me, I better just sit tight through the weekend and wait for this money on Monday so that nobody parks anything in the driveway or has a locksmith help them out or something of the sort. So fast forward to bright and early, only 12 hours later, the next morning, Saturday morning, I'm already being told by my agent that the buyer's agent is asking for the buyer if the seller, me, would let him come over and clean the garage floor because he rented $1,000 in some commercial cleaning equipment. And no, and she knows the answer is no, but she's got to, tell me that the question was asked. And of course the answer is no. You come over here and burn up $200 in water, nothing's in your name. What if you break something? What if your family shows up and everyone wants to use the bathroom and can we, we want to see the house, we got, and then you got to say no, and then it gets weird. Just horrible, awful mistake. Just no. I'm not even thinking about anything until Monday. Fast forward to Monday, which is today, my agent comes over at 10 o'clock in the morning and says that she's already been on the horn with the title company and she's being told in 30 minutes, momentarily. And she thinks they didn't even have the money on Friday because it's after 1 o'clock now. There is still no money. And once again, I don't know where I'm sleeping tonight. I can't reserve a campground or a hotel, and let's just say the money goes through right now. And then the buyer's agent is hounding my agent. Keys. Well, let's say we give up the keys today. Well, then I'm driving off, starting a 500-mile trip in the late afternoon to drive right in the Dallas rush hour. It would have to be, sorry, you gotta wait till tomorrow. It's one of these deals where I've got the utilities all lined up and the homeowner's insurance and everything Got it all lined up with those folks to shut off. But I'm sitting here not knowing if I'm pulling the trigger on that stuff in 2 minutes from now. Is the money gonna show up? Or am I gonna spend the night here? You know, guy doesn't want to shut the water and power off if he doesn't know if he's gonna be here or not, right? I mean, we can survive without that, but you know what I'm saying. You know, for all we know, this isn't even gonna happen now. I mean, we're 99% of the way there, but where's the money? Show me the money. You know, it's also one of these things too, where if I knew that this is how, you know, even just today was gonna go, I could have been productive in other areas. You know how hard it is for a guy to focus on something else when you got something such as this, you know, teetering on the line? We got a country house in the Ozark Mountains with dilapidated barns and acres to do Freeman's garage stuff on. And a little girl waiting. And here we are. I don't know if the buyer knows this or if it'll be a surprise, but I don't care what he uses. He's not getting all this oil out. Or that transmission fluid staying the size of the African continent. Freeman's garage is so close to all this nonsense being done after almost a year. And when we are on those acres with those barns, freedom galore, we can do anything we want. We can just fly out of the barn in a 63 Rambler American or a 56 Chevy for a first test drive. If it quits running in 100 feet, it can sit there for 10 years. Well, I wouldn't want to let it sit there for 10 years, but you know what I mean. I wouldn't be stuck in the street and roll down the hill and crash into other people's cars. But anyways, I can't thank you enough, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you for hanging out all this time, sticking it out with me on both channels. And if you're new, thank you for being here right now. Oh, and guess what? So Friday night, after the closing didn't go through all the way and the money didn't get dispersed, guess what? Don't worry, it's not the first time in my life I've had to do this, but I slept on a bare floor with one tiny kid's blanket and a pillow with no pillowcase. And I do have an air mattress, but you wouldn't believe when I was finishing loading the last of everything into the trailer Friday morning, I had the air mattress in its little carry bag, and the trailer's full of stuff, right? I mean, you'd have to climb over to get to the front. Well, I tossed the air mattress all the way to the front so that it would fall down into a little gap down in the corner, up in the front. So yeah, I wasn't getting that back out. I bet you anything the buyers thought that when they showed up on Friday at 1 o'clock and signed, they would be leaving there with the keys. They probably had all their stuff, U-Haul trucks, trailers, everything in the parking lot, at the title office. Who knows, maybe they just ended a lease with some place they were renting, and you know, it probably ended up in a hotel room with 5 kids. Who knows? So they tried to get into the house Friday evening. Answer is no. They tried to get into the house Saturday morning. That was a no, and I bet you by Saturday afternoon, they realized it wasn't going to happen, and they calmed down, settled in, and probably had McDonald's on the hotel room bed and just forgot about it. I've been wearing the same duds since Friday because when the closing date changed to Friday morning, I washed all the clothes that I have here, 11 out of a suitcase, it's not that much, washed it all, and then unhooked the washer and dryer and loaded them up in the back of the 1-ton Ford, because I'm going from here, when I leave here, I'm going to go from here maybe to one hotel, but ultimately I'm going to the camper in Oklahoma, where I will wait things out until closing on the Oklahoma property. And I want my clothes to last as long as possible. And here we are 3 days later. I'm just trying not to, sweat much in this stuff, because if I can get through with what I have on right now, then I won't ruin my clothes and I mean, come on, let's be honest. Even if I change shirt and chonies, it's still the same pants, right? Every guy has one pair, right? It is now, I'm sorry, excuse me. Let me sit up straight, how disrespectful. It is now 1:45. No money. Title company, agents, moi. No one's gotten a penny yet. We've now reached a point in the day where I gotta start thinking about, what am I gonna do if the money shows up, right? What if it shows up at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock and these folks are chomping at the bit for the keys? They're not gonna get them instantly, especially with the scenario we're in now. If it's late enough, I might say, I'm not leaving till tomorrow. Sorry. You and the title company screwed everything up. Oh, and 4YI, right now we've got, since Friday, we've got agents biting each other's heads off, going back and forth. Title companies involved too, I'm sure, and I'm just trying to, just playing it cool, man. You know what I'm saying, though? About trying to decide what am I gonna do? Because, if it comes in right now, it's 2 o'clock, do I just hook back up to this trailer and hit the road and either stay at a hotel tonight or end up getting to where the camper is in storage at 2 o'clock in the morning and be dripping in sweat doing that? Dropping this trailer, hooking up to the camper, pulling the camper out of the storage locker, dropping the camper, hooking up to this trailer, putting this trailer in the storage, and then hooking back up to the camper, and then going to the campground, if there's even a spot available, because I can't reserve anything, and then be the guy that shows up at the campground at 3 o'clock in the morning and is trying to be as quiet as possible, but every little sound is magnified and the whole campground wakes up. And don't be concerned. I'm not overly concerned with what other people are doing or thinking to where it is preventing me from doing the things that I need to do. We're all running our own race. But you can run your own race with, keeping other people in mind, right? While still getting done what you gotta do. So I gotta start thinking here, about a cutoff time. If the money, let's say it comes in before the end of the day, what's the cutoff time where when I announce to my agent that, yep, it was funded, let's say it's 5 o'clock, and she says, great, I'll tell the buyer's agent that I can meet him at 6 for the keys. Am I gonna say, okay, and then I rush out of here? Or do I say, well, no, hold on here. It's too late. I'm not heading off out onto the road now. I will leave tomorrow morning. You can give them the keys at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I don't know, what would you do? But by the time you see this, it's all happened anyways. So, wish me luck. Wait, oh yeah, that's right, it already happened. It's all right though. We're good. We're not storming the beach on D-Day. We're gonna be fine. I'll let you know, though, at the end of the day, don't jump off the video yet, because at the end of the day in my time, I will let you know what happened, if it showed up or not. All you can do is laugh. Okay, it is almost 2:30. Update, my agent calls me, says she is at the title office, telling them to print off something that shows that they requested the funds be transferred and at what time and date. And she said, call your bank and double check with them if there's anything they see scheduled to come into your account. I did that and there's nothing. And then she emails me a image of what the title company showed her as proof of them requesting the funds or, whatever. And the account type is wrong on there. So I told her that, so we'll see what happens next. Oh, let me throw in that image of the title company showing that they requested the transfer is dated for today and at a time of 10:50 a.m. 10:50? This has been a problem since last week. Why are we doing this at lunchtime? Update, it's now 2:45. My agent has confirmed that she got paid. Don't have mine yet. I'm getting really tired of gas station pizza. I gotta get out of this place. Apparently, there's more phone tag going on now. Nice of them, though, to try to track down my money. So if the clams, if the simoleons, if the smackers, the smackaroos, the dinero, the doll hairs come in before end of business today, even though it's gonna be a little late, I think we're just gonna hook up to this old here trailer and just hit the road. And if we take a nap somewhere along the way, that's what we do. But keep you updated. But if it's after close of business, I might lay my head here one more night and people can just deal with it.